Welcome to the Rogues Can't podcast. Today, our special guest is ShellbackTech from #disabledveteranbuilds over on Twitter. And are you on Facebook and all that stuff as well?
Yep.
I don't have Facebook, so that's why I don't know. So, ShellbackTech, tell me a little bit about what inspired you to start the #disabledveteranbuilds and some of the milestones and like your background, and just give me kind of a general about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a Navy vet, but I was an oddball. About 3 years into my service, they sent me on an IA billet, individual augmentia. And basically, they gave me on loan to the Army and said, here, have fun. And so they retrained me as an MP and sent me boots on ground in Iraq.
And you know what they say about MPs, right? You can't spell wimp without the MP.
Yeah, well, that's because most of them were cage kickers.
Mm-hmm.
But the weird part is even though they retrained us as MPs, they had us in charge of the Supermax portion.
Right.
So go figure.
Right.
Give us the hard part. But after that, I ended up messing up my knees while I was over there, as well as my back. They sent me back stateside. I got to pick out of 2 duty stations. It was either go back to Sasebo, Japan, or get shore duty and go to Fargo, North Dakota. I was like, well, it's only a state away from home, so may as well give it a try. And they sent me here, and I got out and went through a bunch of hell, had some kids.
I love how you put went through some hell, had a bunch of kids in the same sentence.
Oh yeah, well, I ended up hospitalized a few times, and I got divorced, and that was kind of when I lost everything. Like I almost lost my kids, almost lost my life. I mean, you name it. I had almost given up on everything. Right. I sold everything I owned just to feed the kids. And that's when I met my bride, Mrs. Shellback. She's amazing. She took us in when I was about to be homeless with both of my kids. And she built me up. She definitely started supporting me. And I started out, looking into the tech side of things and trying to become a tech tuber and making YouTube videos and whatnot. That really didn't fit. So right. I tried the Twitch thing, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, but it's still really not quite there for me. Well, around that same time, I had a friend that I was in Iraq with. She reached out to me and said, hey, what am I going to need to build a computer so I can start streaming? Right. And it was just in the back of my mind, I've met a lot of these people in the industry. Why don't I reach out to them and see if we can't build her something for her so she doesn't have to? I mean, she was recently disabled. She had just became a mom of number 4. Wow. I mean, like she's got 2 bad knees, a bad back. She's got all kinds of issues from her time over in Iraq because unfortunately she took incoming. So she was kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Well,
building a PC is the last thing that needs to be on her mind at that point.
Well, and exactly. And so I said, you know what, let's build something for her and make it a surprise. So I kind of planned and schemed behind her back and ended up, I reached out to her husband and said, hey, look, I want you to film this when it gets there because she's going to have no idea what's going on. Right. And I built the entire thing with our unit number, our insignias, everything on the side. Like I designed it for her. And I liked it so much I had to do it again. And again and again and again and again. And it kind of spiraled into this amazing thing that we're doing where we now have companies jumping on board to build computers for disabled vets in need. And I made it my mission because I want to show our brothers and sisters that this is a valid outlet. This is almost therapy for us because we're connecting with people that we feel closed off from because
Right.
most of us are shut in.
Yeah.
It's a reality. I mean, when we get those diagnoses that you're disabled, sorry, you have PTSD, you have depression, you have anxiety, you have all of these issues on top of your medical issues. Well, you have nothing left to offer is basically how they give it to you,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
hate that. And I wanted to show them that you have more to give. You
Right.
have something left to offer society, and we can do it through content creation. We can.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
even if it's just, playing a video game and hanging out with your buddies. That's if you stream that, that can help somebody else in your same situation.
Right. I mean, you've been in my stream for
Mhm.
about the past couple hours. Um, just today listening to me and a bunch of army veteran buddies of mine that I actually met through Twitch and met through the online gaming community. I think that's something that we lose when we get that diagnosis for being disabled and useless. Um, and getting that community back, even though Katarian, for instance, has become a really good friend of mine, a veteran, a streamer. He's 6 hours away from me, and before I moved to Florida, he was about 8 hours away from me. And
Mhm.
him and I just connected and meshed. He's Air Force, I'm Army. We talk shit to each other. It doesn't really matter.
We
That's
all
what we
do.
do. Yeah. But him and I both have pulled each other through some of those harder times where it's like, man, I don't really want to be on this planet today.
Yep.
Um, and just the ability to play video games and see what each other's doing on a game while we're playing. That has helped so much.
Oh, definitely. It really does. And that connection that we lost, when we gain that back, especially through the online communities that we're becoming a part of, it changes you. It helps you in ways that you never imagined. Like, you don't see it when you're stuck in that rut. You don't see where you're headed.
Right.
And when you start reaching out to your brothers and sisters and they can lift you up because they have been where you are, that changes you for the better and it changes them for the better. And that's part of what we do here. Like right now behind me, if you can see everything, I mean, I have
I can see
a
a lot.
majority yeah, I have a majority of the computers already built. Like they're
Nice.
ready to go. It's a matter of fine tuning them, doing those customizations to make them really
Hmm.
special, and tuning them to the use case, so to speak.
Yeah.
And like my part shelves are becoming empty because I've used them all.
Right.
But one of the most amazing ones that came up is actually like right behind me over there. You'll see those two big black boxes.
Yeah.
Those are desks and chairs for the veterans.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So we're now like we're set. We can provide custom gaming desks and chairs for our veterans free of charge as long as they're a recipient. And even if they're not,
Wow.
we have a discount code for 25% off.
That is amazing.
So it adds more to the equation for those that are really lacking. And I don't want some dude to get a brand new computer and go, well, crap, now where do I put it? I don't have
Right.
anything. I got my entertainment center in the living room and I don't have a space for myself.
Yeah.
And
I
so
actually thought about doing something like that because I built my own desk. Um,
right.
I've done some minor woodworking stuff with some of my friends and, learned a lot through. I have an uncle who, when he retired from the military, became a contractor and carpenter, kind of taught me the ins and outs of building some things. And I was like, if there's veterans that are close by, I could probably just go build them a custom desk for them because you never know, like, who's in a wheelchair, who's going to be, needing some extra support somewhere because of their disability. And That's what I think is amazing about your computers is that, you're building them, but then you're putting in, from what I've seen, and I'm not going to give, like, Risket Biscuit, I know is in chat. I'm not telling you anything about your computer. But you put the little pop figures and you do custom stuff for that person because their personality or what they've talked to you about in the past has come out.
Oh,
And I think that's
definitely.
amazing.
Oh, there we have my half blind cat. She's the rescue. She's wait, what?
Wait, what?
Oh, hold up. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Wife. All right. I gotta mute that.
Cracker Jack say, "Yay, kitty!"
Yeah. The cat back there, she's kind of a goofball. She's kind of a goofball. She's half blind. She was a rescue, and the person that had her before me found her out on the streets, and we got her all fixed up and got her into the vet and taken care of. She can't see out of one eye, so like her depth perception is horrible. It's funny because she's my garage cat, so she'll come out and hang and watch me build. And she's got her own cat bed right by the workbench and everything like that. And then the dog usually lays at my feet while I'm at the desk and everything like that. But I mean, she's a cool cat. Yeah. She yells at you because through her time of being blind, she figured out that if she makes noise, she's there, so you don't step on her.
Right.
Well, now she just makes noise all the time. You go near her and just.
I mean, it's a survival instinct at that point. I would do the same thing. I do the same thing on a motorcycle. That's the exact same thing that motorcyclists do. Because a loud bike saves lives.
Exactly.
Cracker Jacks, could I get a shout out for ShellbackTech, please?
Oh, thanks, bud. You don't have to do that.
I'm
barely on Twitch anymore.
Look at this, man. I don't ever have to do anything I don't ever want to.
Mm-hmm.
That is one thing that I pride myself on, is I do exactly what I want, how I want to most of the time. Unless my wife says, "Hey, stop doing that." And then,
Right. And then you kind of go,
"Oh, okay.
My bad.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that."
I'm sorry.
I'm real sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But shifting gears just a little bit, you said
go for it.
in your little introduction there to us, you've been through the ringer.
Yeah.
You've almost been homeless. You've been divorced, been hospitalized. Yep. Is there a particular game? And this is a kind of an oddball question, but is there a particular game that you had and that you've played consistently that you would say maybe helped you get through that because of either the community or just because of the gameplay?
Actually, there's two, and you're going to laugh at me because we have this in common. But the Borderlands series, for one, just because, I played it back when it was nothing and nobody even knew about it. I got it the day it released on Xbox 360.
Yep.
But my other one is the Dragon Age series. Mainly because when I was at my worst, it was an escape for me going and creating a completely unique character and living their story rather than my own, because a lot of the time my own sucked.
Right.
I didn't want to be a part of it. I didn't want to be in it. I mean, I did some terrible things, and I wasn't always there. I wasn't the person that I should have been. And like, all I did was work. And I worked myself into the hospital, and even during those times, those games were an escape for me. They were an outlet to where I could actually lose myself to the story, and rather than focus on my own pain
and not lose yourself in reality.
Exactly. And I mean, I went through my fair share of heartache and pain and everything, and I deal with chronic pain on a daily basis. It's lessened when I have something to focus on. And with these builds, the computers that I'm making,
Right.
they they help me to focus on something more than myself. And it's just like that with gaming. And a lot of these people don't realize that.
Right. You know, I don't have chronic pain.
Hmm.
Um, you know, you watched the podcast from Inside Military Esports,
Yep.
um, but the emotional and mental pain from losing the military, that can sometimes be even more excruciating for some of these guys than guys and gals. Let me throw
Hmm.
that out there. Than, you know, most of the pain that we even feel, because we're taught to deal with the pain of our bodies,
Oh,
and
definitely.
we're never taught to deal with that pain of our minds being, you know, racked and tortured inside. So I just want to say before we keep going, I am so thankful that you're doing what you are doing with the veteran builds, and how you're helping our brothers and sisters. You know, because we may talk shit to each other, but be damned if anybody else did.
Exactly. We're family, and even if you kick that goofy cousin around, ghosties and whatnot, we're still gonna knock you. We're still gonna knock you around if you're not a part of that family.
Right. Um, so with all the computer building and dealing with your chronic pain, do you use a special desk to build your computer rigs that you're going to send out, or do you just kind of pick a place and be there for a minute, like, oh look, I can stand here or I can sit down sometimes?
Actually, that workbench that you see over my shoulder,
Yeah.
that is my primary workstation for building, and it was given to me, built for me by hand by one of the recipients as a thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, I got something for you." He showed up at my doorstep and handed me a brand new workbench, and I'm like, "Well, this is freaking awesome.
Right.
Thank you." And he was like, "You wanted to keep doing what you're doing. You can't do that if you don't have a proper workstation." And that's the story. I mean, like, I use that thing every single day. I am out here in this garage every single day, no matter what. And I'm constantly working. Occasionally, yeah, I do have to work on the ground, but that's usually because of like fluid testing, things like that. I want to make sure it's on a
Right.
stable environment.
Yeah. Um,
Um, Go
but
ahead.
through all of the building and things, you know, dealing with your pain and dealing with trying to build these brisket biscuit said lol fluids. Oh, the
Yeah,
veteran
well,
community. Have there been any tools that you use now, that
mhm.
maybe not specifically built for computers, like improvised, you know, anything that you now use on a regular basis that you kind of found just seemed to work for you?
Actually, there's when I was given my toolkit by a friend, it kind of changed how I went about building. Um, just because it wasn't one of those specific type toolkits where, hey, hey, this is your set of mechanics tools. This is what you get to work with. No,
Right.
they gave me this really, really hodgepodge, awesome. Like, it looks like a bomb case, but you open it up and each layer inside is a different tool set for different types of needs. And I'm able to work on the electronics with certain portions. I'm able to work on, the actual case building portion with other different sections. I mean, it all comes in handy. But the one thing that I use more than anything else wasn't actually given to me. It was my LED lights that I converted into spotlights.
Nice.
And you'll see them. They're just those little boom arm things back there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean they look like the. My wife calls them the Pixar lamps.
Yeah.
But they've actually got their 250 watt equivalent LED bulbs inside them.
So like 15 actual watts.
Yeah, I think it's like 23 actual watts.
Yeah.
But the brightness level on them, I am able to see no matter what the situation is, and
Jeez.
I use them to work on the floor. They're that bright. Like I can shine them over onto the floor, and they will light up the entire area.
So you can see microbes with that crap. That's a bright light. What is this one speck of dust doing here? Let's get out of there. Okay. No, like I use the a guitar pick actually.
Okay.
When I'm doing my thermal paste.
Okay, so you're a spreader.
I am not a spreader. I am not a spreader. I take the sharp end of the guitar pick and I put it right in the middle of the dollop and I just twist it like a half turn and it just causes like a little, like almost like a donut.
Yep.
And that way it doesn't just like gush out everywhere. And then I'm missing a section of the CPU.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna be one of those.
No, man, no. Ain't nobody got time for that. unless you're like Paul from Par's Hardware, you don't have time for that shit.
Right. Well, and speaking of Paul, that video, like, dude, I'm still shook from that one. I couldn't believe he did that.
So tell us a little bit about that video, since I brought up Paul's Hardware, and you know there was some stuff that happened on YouTube that you guys might not know.
Right. Well, I had no control over any of that. Basically, they surprised the surprise guy. like that was what happened. They surprised me, and I'm usually the one surprising people. So I actually broke down when I found out about all this because it was just brought on like that. And the way I found out was I get a follow notification on Twitter from Paul's Hardware, and I'm like, wait, what? Oh, dude only follows like 400 people.
Yeah.
But he's got over 1 million people following him. What am I doing? This has got to be a glitch or something. Then I get a message from him, and I'm like, what's going on? He goes, okay, here's a video. I want you to watch it. And then he made it live, and I started watching, and that I got that reaction that he was looking for. Only I was watching him building a computer for our charity. Like, he built it specifically for us to give to somebody that we chose. So
that is amazing.
Yeah, so he knows that it's going to somebody in need, and I have found the recipient.
Nice.
But through all that, like, I'm watching this video and I'm sitting in the grocery store parking lot with my daughter while my wife goes in and gets her prescriptions. And like, I literally just started grown man ugly crying. like is
there any other way that grown men cry? It's just ugly.
It was just ugly cry because like tears flowing down. I'm sitting there in the freaking front seat, and my wife comes out and she's like, oh my God, what's wrong? Well, then I explained it to her and I showed her the video, and she goes, oh, look, Hims has the feelings. Like, totally ragged on me. She goes, now you know what it's like. It's karma.
That is awesome though, man. Like,
yeah,
to get followed by, I'm I'm gonna say he's one of my favorite YouTubers. I'm only assuming he's one of your favorite YouTubers.
Oh, definitely. Like everything that this guy does, like I've been watching since the original, oh gosh, the Panther build, like the very first one he did. That's when I started watching him,
Right.
and like I dug his stuff. Like it was awesome.
Yeah.
And now to have somebody like that say they think what I'm doing is awesome, to acknowledge me, that means the world to me, because it means that I'm finally not yelling into the void as much.
Right.
Like I'm getting that word out there, and I'm doing my best. I really am. I've got some proposals in. Hopefully we can get our vendors to send us to CES, because if we can get there, that will get our message out to every single company that goes there, and we will be broadcast front and center, rather than me sending emails out into the void every single day.
Right.
And that, like, I get so lost in my train of thought. Sorry, like
Oh, you're fine. We're an ADHD podcast. It's fine.
well, ADHD and memory and all that. Like I get lost in my own head. So to try and have other people follow, it becomes extremely
I literally have a
difficult.
notebook that I keep on my desk because I forget everything.
Yep. Oh, dude, like I have the calendar going in my phone. I have the calendar going on my screen. I have Post-it notes at random places throughout the garage. Like, you name it, I'm trying to remember it. Do I? Absolutely not.
Right. I mean, we had a conversation earlier through text. You forget to eat sometimes. Like,
yep.
I know that struggle. That is a hard struggle. You should just put a Post-it note on the backside of every time you're doing a build, like, eat today.
Oh, dude, it gets bad, especially when I'm doing testing or I'm installing new parts that just arrived. Like, it 3-4 hours will go by, and I think it's been 30 to 40 minutes. It's
Right.
nothing. And then my wife comes out and is like, "Hey, dude, it's 9 o'clock. Time to go to bed." What?
Right.
My bad.
Oh, okay.
Where did the daylight go? I mean, I'm glad it's gone, because I'm pale and pasty and I burn easy. But
Right.
where did the daylight go, man? It stinks. It stinks because there's not enough hours in the day, and there's not enough of me to go around for me to make more than what I already am. And that's the biggest frustration for me right now.
Right. So do you find that you're running more out of parts, or you're running more out of time first?
Actually, it's parts. I run out of parts well before I run out of time, because like I have every single build lined up, ready to go, in order of the amount of parts that they still need.
Right.
And like the one on the desk, that's literally just, here, put some pretty stuff in it, and we're ready to go.
Right.
Whereas the one sitting closest to me here at my desk, that one's empty because we're still missing the motherboard.
Is that the motherboard I'm sending you?
No, not unless you have a Threadripper board sitting around.
I do not have a Threadripper board sitting anywhere. If I had a Threadripper board, it'd be sitting on my desk with a Threadripper in
it. Exactly. Dude, I don't even have a Threadripper.
Right. I'm pretty comfortable with the two computers that I have right now.
There you go.
Instead of spending all of my money on computer parts to make one big streaming and gaming PC, I went a little bit less with each of them so that I could buy a really expensive microphone. Yeah, which, looking back at it, good investment.
Money well spent.
Money well spent. I can use this microphone for anything.
That Ryzen 9 though.
Right,
dude. You're killing me, Smalls. As much as I look forward to that series, I don't look forward to having to wait for the motherboards for them, because
For
each
sure.
of our parts all cost money, and
Right.
if we can't get them sponsored, we have to get them donated, or we have to spend out of the funds that are sent to us. And the new 570 boards are just absolutely ungodly expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
it's like trying to buy the X299 boards back when Intel was doing the high-end desktop series.
right. Now, speaking of computer parts, I usually ask
Mhm.
everybody because we're all gamers, you know. I usually have been asking the last two podcasts guests, what game are you most excited about coming out? It's Borderlands 3. We know that.
Well, yes, Borderlands
Um,
3, absolutely, but the one that I just got today, I haven't even played it yet. It was still downloading when we got on the stream. I just got what is it called? Crap. Now see, now my brain went zzz, and I
Remnant,
forgot. No, I've had Remnant. Remnant was fun. Greedfall.
Greedfall.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to check that out.
Pirates Magic RPG.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yup. Like
Uh,
it basically takes all the things that I loved about like the Gothic series and all that fun stuff, and mixes it in with the Pirates of the Caribbean. And
nice. I
so
got
I'm
a
like,
jar of
all right,
dirt. I
I'll
got a
take
jar of
this.
dirt. But my real big question for you is, what piece of computer hardware that you've noticed coming down the pipeline are you the most excited for?
I have one that I can't talk about, but let's just say it's a graphics card.
Okay, there we go. There you go, guys.
Yeah,
A mysterious graphics card is the winner of
it's
today's.
extremely. Now currently I'm waiting to hear back, but I should be getting my hands on a 5700 XT, the gorgeous AMD cards, not the reference blower models, but I'm trying to get my hands
Miss me,
on
sugar?
the Red Devil version.
Nice.
And that card, if you watch all the reviews,
Yeah.
it stood way above the pack
Yeah.
because it was just that good.
Those are schmexy for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Oh man. Nubonic
New
just
Bonnet coming here
hosted.
hosting the stream with 2 viewers. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. Welcome back to the shadows, and thank you so much for hosting us. New Bonnet is also a veteran.
His bot.
and his bot. Bob Bot, is that what his name was? Yeah.
See, I told you. Oh man.
But yeah, have you
that's
been
too funny.
catching any of the Borderlands 3 streams?
I have not. I have purposefully ignored everything because I want to give it my full undivided attention when it lands on my desk without any influence from anybody else.
Fair enough. I was up watching it last night because I have 4 people that I'm going to be playing it with. We're all going to be running in one squad together, doing a 24 to 48 hour stream. One of the guys that'll be doing it with me is Vorticosline75, partnered streamer on Twitch, and he was the guest on our last podcast. His record right now is like 102 hours straight.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah, so that's a long time. But him and I are going to be sitting down and playing it and trying. I want to try and beat it first, like just be the first person, blaze through the story mode, see what I can see.
Definitely.
But from what I've seen, there's a lot of community interaction if you stream it.
Sweet.
And it is like Killer 6, for instance. his chat literally screwed him over because he was fighting a badass that the community dropped on him.
Oh no.
And then the community gave it 48% health regen and leveled it up to an ultimate badass, and then just kept screwing with him, dude. And I'm like, why are you guys doing this to this man? Like,
oh, that's mean.
That's so mean. I'm like, he's gonna rage quit day one, Borderlands 3. Like, he's just gonna end this stream and just say screw it to all y'all.
I'm done. Sorry.
Right. But like with the EchoCast stuff, from what I've been watching, you can get like free loot. Like you can do like red chest events and stuff, and it'll like teleport it to your game. So like the next time you come in, you have like some gear that you won from another streamer.
Nice.
And it's like, to me, the integration of software and hardware technology in today's world is absolutely insane. You know, the statistic right now is we've grown like over the past 10 years at a rate that should have taken 55 or 60 years.
Oh, easily.
And, you know, I went to college after I got out of the Army, back in 2014. That's when I started, and I went to Purdue and got my computer engineering degree. And started to. I didn't completely finish. I've got like a couple classes left to go. But like all of the information that I got from those classes is just about completely outdated.
Oh, definitely.
Now. And I learned more from YouTube than I did from school.
Yeah. I definitely understand that one. I ended up trying to I went to school twice after I got out, and the first time, actually no, I went back to school 3 times. The first time I decided I was going to try and go for game design. Well, I ended up using way more of my GI build than they were supposed to. And so I dropped out. Now, then I had my first kid, and I finally went back like 4 years later. I got a massage therapy degree.
That seems real helpful when building computers.
Yeah. That was the only thing it was the only thing I could think of to get that was in the area that I could at least make a little bit of money. Well, I ended up being hospitalized from it, so there went that.
And you ended up being hospitalized from massage therapy?
My back and my knees gave out.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
I was like, how hard were you pushing on people, man? That's a lot.
Right. I'm just done. But no joke, I ended up going back to school for like 6 months trying to get my my A+ certification and all that fun stuff, and it just didn't work out. Like, to think that I am building these systems now, and 2 years ago I couldn't even get hired by Microsoft here in town, that blows my mind.
Wow.
Yeah. Like they wouldn't even give me the time of day. I went in it and they literally said, sorry, you're not a good fit. See ya. And this was right before I got hospitalized again. And so I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I've got nothing. And now I do this. And I don't think I've had a complaint yet.
I mean, it's amazing to find something that you're that passionate about, and something that enables you to be who you are. And, you know, for me, when I got medically discharged from the military, I lost who I was.
Oh, definitely.
For sure. And you know, a lot of other veterans, I hear that same thing about, I lost who I was as a person, because you know, that's ingrained in us. You know, I still walk down the daggone grocery aisle sometimes, and I catch myself out loud singing cadences. Just walking down the grocery aisle. I'm like, why am I doing this?
Or humming it, or you catch yourself fixing your step.
All the time.
Oh, sorry, I got to catch step. All
Hold
right, here
on.
we
Okay,
go.
gotcha. Okay, or like my wife
Mhm.
will be walking on one side, and I'm like, "You're on the wrong side," and just put
Yep.
her. But finding that thing that is you, and finding that thing that enables you to work in some sort of way, and enables you to have that life again. Um, that is one of the most important things that I try to stress, not only through this podcast, but on my live stream on Twitch, that's where we're at right now.
Right.
But to all of the veterans that I encounter, who just haven't found that thing yet that they want to do. It's so important in fighting depression and anxiety and PTSD to find who you are as a person outside of, just, oh, well, I was a soldier, I was a seaman. You can't say
Yep.
you were forever. You have to continue to be. And so, it's so awesome to see, and hear your story that, you came from losing everything and literally being homeless with your kids, and
Yep.
selling everything you had to make sure that they had. That to me is something that a lot of people lose sight of in the face of depression and in the face of anxiety and PTSD, is that if they do have children, they still have to maintain for them.
Yep.
Um,
And well, and that was the one thing that kept me going was my kids, because even when I didn't want to live anymore, even when I was at my wit's end and I was done with life, I couldn't do it because I didn't want to leave my kids knowing that that is how I went,
right,
that I chose to leave them. And I couldn't do it. It's just so alien to me, because they wouldn't have had anything. They would have had to fend them for themselves, and they would
right,
have been worse off for it. So I fought for my kids. And that's the difference. You have to find something worth fighting for
right.
rather than just yourself.
And for some people that's your kids, some people that's their spouse. For some of us veterans, that's the gaming community. For it's having the people there that know that day in, day out, they're going to be there on Discord calls, on telephone calls, and whatever else.
Oh,
We all
definitely.
got to fight for each other, because if I take my own life tonight for because of depression and PTSD and suicide, um that doesn't affect me anymore. But I
Yep.
forged a relationship with you, with Risket Biscuit, with Cracker Jacks, with my whole community. That affects each and every one of you. And so, I'm a big advocate on my stream and in life about getting help and getting, the counseling and therapy and everything that you need for yourself. And a lot of time before, I didn't do that. And so it was like me preaching about something that I didn't even do. Which
Oh,
is
definitely.
kind of fucked up, but I wanted to it was me more trying to save my brothers and sisters than I was saving myself. But through gaming and through growing a community on Twitch and finding all of these people like yourself and Katarian and Cracker Jacks, I really learned that I can help take care of those other people, but also take care of myself. And you give them the gateway to get there, to show you, give them the ability to grab hold of that community and and basically shake it into submission and say, hey, I'm here, please don't leave me alone. And then the rest of us come along and say, hey, welcome to the club where we're all right here with you. Nobody's going to ever be alone again.
Oh, definitely. And that's, I think, one of the hardest things is to, when you're at that low point, to find those people. because through my own personal experience, I found that when you're at those negative points in your life, when you're at your worst, when you're having that hard time, that difficult outlook, you tend to surround yourself with people that are going through similar, only they're not reaching out either. And so you're seeing that negativity build and increase itself all the way around you to the point of shoving you down even further. And when you finally reach when you finally reach out to someone that has that positivity, that can show you that there is something better out there, it changes your entire perspective. But until you can get that person, you feel lost. You really do.
Yeah.
And I did for the longest time. And it took my wife, my now wife, showing me that light.
Yeah.
And it's scary because so many of us don't find that. So many of us, 22 a day, do not find the help that they need.
Yeah.
And me personally, you know, I've gone through spells where I've completely put off my own therapy, my own self-care in care of others. But I realize now that I'm doing them a disservice because I'm not helping myself.
Right.
And so, like, most people
Stay alive, King
don't
Hort.
even huh. Oh, yeah.
That's an ingrained thing.
Yep.
He was telling me earlier, because he comes in and he says, you know, every couple hours he comes in and says, stay alert. That's his way of letting me know he's still lurking, keeping everything up. And every time I'm like, stay alive. And he's like, dude, I'm just letting you know I'm still here. And I'm like, I can't help it. I see it and I say, stay alive every time.
And
it's
every
like
time
somebody
that little saying, it makes you want to say huh.
Right. Huh?
Huh?
Can I get a big huh?
So that one little thing, that was something that, even though I was Navy, they trained into me.
Oh yeah, they pushed that so far in your head. Like,
oh yeah, I was one of those weird ones that I actually wore ACUs in the desert.
That's dumb. that was dumb.
Oh, imagine. Hold on. Hold on. I got to show you this.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Imagine how many times I got saluted wearing this.
So I guarantee you so many fucking times.
Everywhere I went.
Because fucking privates are stupid, bro.
Everywhere I went. Hey, Dixie, how's it going? I appreciate you stopping in.
Hey, Dixie.
Dixie is actually really pushing for these charity streams to try and gather more people to the hashtag disabled veteran build cause.
Right.
And her and Prior Ghost, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but
I've heard of him.
He's one of our upcoming recipients. This guy is streaming and gaming and pushing on a system from 2012.
Damn.
Yeah, and he
yeah, this is the dude that builds PCs for vets.
I am the guy that builds PCs for vets. If you want to see, I mean,
he said, I love this fucking dude on Twitter.
Everything everywhere. It's all right here. The whole kingdom.
Okay, so it caught my attention and I have ADHD, so we got to talk about it for a second.
Go for it.
Your fucking forearm tattoos, man. Why would you get
Star Wars tattoos?
Why would you get one of each? Because you got to stay Empire, bro.
Wrong. You can't have light without the dark. I am a gray.
I mean, but long live the Empire.
Oh, trust me, I am a hardcore every single time I will side with the Empire. However,
Long live the Empire.
however, you can never have light without the dark. And
That is
on
true.
my tattoos, the reason for them is because I have had my darkest days, I have had my brightest,
Right.
and I will never exist without both. And they're always going to be a part of my life. Well, that was a constant reminder.
Right.
Now, I mean, if I could finish my sleeves, you'd laugh at me a lot more. But you know, I can't afford tattoos right now. I'm kind of on a fixed income.
Right.
But no joke. I have them all planned out, and they're even mapped out to how they're gonna go. And I've got stuff from animes. I've got stuff from cartoons I used to watch as a kid. You name it, it's all figured in there. And like Ninja Turtles and
Nice.
Bleach and Dragon Ball Z, and I mean, you name it, it's probably in there.
Right. So I'm just
And
doing like every time I get a full sleeve done, I'm putting a vault symbol in the middle of it somewhere. Just because, I can. I don't care. No, I was actually talking to somebody the other day and they're like, well, tattoos don't cost that much. I'm like, how much do you think a whole daggone black sleeve costs? They're like, maybe 400
yeah,
bucks. I'm like, nah, dude. It's like 400 to 500 a session. And that's just getting blacked out. Like guys doing
yep.
designs, guys doing line work and then shading and then do all that stuff. That's expensive work.
My back piece is sitting right around 1,400.
Oh, that's cheap.
And that's just to finish what I already started.
Right.
Like I already got half of it done when I was in Japan, and I did old school peg and board.
Fuck that, dude.
Yep.
That's painful.
I like the pain.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. No, my back piece I had priced out and it was right around $5,000.
Ouch.
Yeah. It's a really complicated piece though. It's like it's a memorial piece. Slash music piece. And so it's the Avenged Sevenfold skull bat across the top of my shoulders. And then in the middle of the skull it's got the Rev and then his numbers, the 00.
Mm-hmm.
But its mouth is open with the Metallica Ninja Star coming out of it, like breathing fire down. And then on the bottom, it's World War II style soldiers, like with the old style, like flat helmets and stuff, versus like new wave soldiers, like New World soldiers. And then in each one of the soldiers' silhouettes, they're all black. It's so the World War II side is like my grandfathers and my uncles and everybody from there. On the other side, new wave soldiers is all the guys that I lost in Iraq and Afghanistan. But then in the very like far back, overwatching everything is another. It's like a skeleton king sitting on a throne, like Hail to the King from Avenged Sevenfold's album.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of black.
Hey, I feel you there. I mean, mine is essentially a cemetery at the bottom.
Nice.
And each headstone is a person that I've lost. And then on top of that mountain, I've got my phoenix wings that I drew. And it's basically 3 wings that come together to form one on either side.
Nice.
And then at the top, you've got a halo. Inside the halo, it's actually got the Japanese kanji for Shinigami, or death god.
Right.
It's the person that ferries the souls of the dead to heaven.
Right.
And then, I mean, that's essentially how it was supposed to go. But I mean, I can't afford that stuff. I mean,
right.
Good Lord, I got I got $400 deep, and that was just the outline of one of the sets of wings, and the lady was like, "Oh no, you used too much. I charge you more." And yeah, that's where it went.
It's like, God, good God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't even
Well,
know
I
how to
mean, it
say
was.
that follower right there, but okay.
Oh, Sean. Just call him Sean.
Just call him Sean.
There you go.
I'm gonna call you
Sean
SJ.
is our disabled first responder friend.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go.
But yeah, anywho.
Yeah, I was
Since I
like,
have a
that's a lot for one arm sleeve though. $970.
oof. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dude, I just zoned out. Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
It's one of those days. I've had a
yeah.
long one.
But guys, I would like to thank everybody for stopping by and listening to
seriously.
us banter back and forth. If you guys, I'm going to open it up for like the next 5 minutes, if that's okay with you.
Mm-hmm.
And just let chat kind of ask us questions. Either one of us ask us questions.
Oh yeah, no joke.
And you know, we know there's a little bit of delay, so that's why I started about a minute early. You're still listening to Scum? Oh, poop. Oh well. I'll change it in the highlight later. It's fine.
Killing me, Smalls. That's why nobody's watching us.
I mean, we've got some good people in here.
Hey, that's all that matters, right?
Yep. It'll be going up. This will also be going up on YouTube as well. So it takes me about a day to get everything edited together, add some nice music to the intro, and you know, we'll get it all figured out. And if you had a green screen, I also edited out green screens, and
I wish I did.
Fine.
I'm still kind of poor.
Yeah, I got you, fam. Don't worry. My green screen that I use cost me $2.50.
Hey, there you go.
Will you teach me to video edit? I can teach you how to video edit. It is not really that hard. If you want to do like basic stuff, it's cake.
What do you use?
DaVinci Resolve.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm on.
It is the easiest way to do anything. I just got somebody gifted me the After Effects, Photoshop, the whole Adobe suite. So I'm gonna kind of learn how to use a little bit of that, but DaVinci that's my jam.
I stopped doing most of the Adobe stuff except for photo editing.
Yeah,
because I love Lightroom Classic. Lightroom Classic and Lightroom, they work so well for the editing portions of photos, but video editing, I figured out real quick that my 8700K, even overclocked, it just doesn't like to render.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Not in Premiere.
Not in Premiere. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, Premiere is kind of a resource hog all the way across the board.
Oh, definitely.
And King Hork, it does seem overwhelming, and that's what I try and tell people that I recommend to DaVinci Resolve is, you know, when I recommend it, I also throw out my 100% backing that if they will sit down with me in a chat for like 20 minutes, I can run them through exactly what they need to know for basic video editing, and then you'll be okay. What are the specs on your computer, and I can tell you if it'll run DaVinci or not, and what settings to use for it so that it will run it.
Right. Well, and they actually offer a lot of tutorials on it too.
Yeah.
I was really surprised at the amount of information I could get my hands on.
Yeah, it's you know, if you look at like Blackmagic's website and all of that for DaVinci Resolve, they have a lot of tutorials. But then you go on YouTube and you're like, there's hardly anything here. There's like one guy, now two guys that I know of that do DaVinci Resolve tutorials. But everyone else is like Premiere Pro. And I'm like, Premiere Pro is garbage. If you're not using like the newest system with like 800 gigs of RAM and a i9 9900K overclocked to like 6.5 gigahertz.
I definitely had my fair share of interesting. Oh, okay. That was random. Oh,
What'd you break?
Sorry, it's one of my sponsors trying to reach out to me at 9 o'clock at night.
I mean, hey, let him reach out, man.
Hey, it's my desk and chair sponsor, so I mean he's throwing out ideas. I gotta listen to him.
There you go.
But yeah, it's honestly like one of the
Sean,
biggest.
thank you so much for being in here, dude. You have a i5 9400 at 2.9 gigahertz and a 1063 gig. I will tell you right now that will run and edit with DaVinci Resolve.
Oh, easily.
100%. Yeah. 8 gigs of DDR4, 266 RAM. Yeah, that'll run DaVinci Resolve. I used to edit on DaVinci Resolve with a laptop that had been in a car accident. This fucker has no computer. The LCD screen on it is shattered, so I had to get like a RGB, not RGB, VGA port monitor, so like an old ass monitor to hook up to it, and like the shittiest keyboard ever. and at that point, I'd ran out of USB slots on it because it only had 2. So I was running like my one keyboard and my mouse, no other anything else. And if I wanted to plug in like a external hard drive or anything, I had to unplug my mouse and just use the one on the thing that barely worked half the time.
Oh man!
But it still ran DaVinci Resolve just fine. It's a matter of how you set it up inside your settings. And when you download it the first time, it actually has now with 16. I don't know if you know this or not. But when you download 16, it has a scanner inside of it when you first open it up, and it'll scan your system and adjust the settings accordingly.
Yes, sir.
Which is so dope.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds like the wife just pulled up.
There we go. But guys, I would like to thank you all for coming out to the podcast today. This will be up on YouTube in about 2 days, and I'll put it on Twitter when the YouTube video comes out. I would like to thank you again, Shellback, for coming out and just giving us a little bit of your very precious time.
Seriously, it means the world to me, and it's been a pleasure being on here. I mean, we were both featured on the same episode for Inside Military Sports. I mean, this seemed just like a further extension. So
yeah,
it was only natural that we do something like this.
Yep. I reached out to Inside Military Esports first, and then reached out to you and got a date set. And I had the one podcast with Vordy in between. But this seemed like a natural fit for us to do this. And so, best of luck to you and all of your builds and all of your sponsorships and all of that. And you have a great rest of your day with your wife, or night. It's night now. It's nighttime.
It's definitely night. Here she comes to mess with me.
Hi, Mrs. Shellback.
Hi, Mrs. Shellback.
You're on a live stream now. Look at her. If you haven't gone and checked her out either, she also streams live on Twitch. And if I can get one of my moderators to shout her out, that would be awesome.
She goes sometimes.
Sometimes. But thank you so much for coming out to the podcast. I appreciate you being on here, and we will have to do this again sometime soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, brother. We'll talk at you soon.
All right, you have a great day.
You too.